Hi, friends. Wanted to share a little bit with you today. Earlier this morning, I did a funeral, and every time I do a funeral, it just strikes me that today is the day of salvation. When you look at this scripture right here, 2 Corinthians 6 1 and 2, it says this: As God's co workers, we urge you not to receive God's grace in vain. For he says, In the time of my favor, I heard you, and in the day of salvation, I helped you. I tell you, now is the time of God's favor. Now is the day of salvation. And so I, it just always strikes me when I am in front of the family, when I'm with the family before or after, when we're at the gravesite, that there is nothing that we can do for that family member who is being laid to rest. All we can do is take care of ourselves. And to do that, we must give our lives to Christ so that we can be in heaven. Whether the person that has passed is going to heaven or not going to heaven, we can't control. What we can control is whether or not we make it to heaven. And so if we want to do that, today is the day of salvation. I told the story at the funeral today of Jamie. Jamie was a beautiful young lady, 27 years old. It's hard to tell this story. Jamie was always upbeat and positive. She liked to give hugs, and that was a big deal. And our church was going to have a gospel sing on Sunday night, and Jamie loved Christian music. And so she was so excited. Pastor Ed, is that singing this Sunday night? Yep, it is, Jamie. Well, I see her a couple of days later. She pulls up in front of the house. Pastor Ed, is that singing tomorrow night? Yep, it's tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Jamie. I'll be there, Pastor Ed. And so the next night at 6 o'clock, there Jamie is, and she's in the back of the church, and she is praising the Lord and enjoying the music. It was pretty much a full house. It was a small church, so it didn't have to have a whole lot of people in there to get a full house. And I was outside and greeting people as they left and shaking hands, and Jamie came up. She did what she always did. She gave me a hug, and she had the biggest smile on her face. But then she did something that she had never done before. She kissed me on my cheek, and she said, Pastor Ed, I love you. The night ended. The next day, Jamie was taking one of her two beautiful young daughters to preschool. Her younger daughter was in a car seat in the back. She dropped Angel off at preschool and headed back to her home in the country. And for some reason, Jamie flipped her car, and the day of salvation, the day that Jamie's life ended, was about 12 hours after she kissed me on the cheek and said, Pastor Ed, I love you. That story will always stick with me because we don't know when our day is. We don't know what tomorrow holds. Yesterday's gone, a song says, and tomorrow may never be mine. But for this day, teach me to take one day at a time. And that day, today, is your day of salvation. God bless you. Now go out and do the right thing.